Tonight, we continue our coverage of the officer-involved shooting that ended 28-year-old Michael Dean's life. 6 News reporter Cole Johnson spoke with Mayor Tim Davis and talked about what the city has learned from this case and how they've handled it, footage of the shooting, and even accusations of a cover-up.
It's been more than 2 weeks since 28-year-old Michael Dean was shot and killed by Temple police officer Carmen DeCruz. Now we're hearing from Temple's mayor, Tim Davis, on his thoughts on a variety of details surrounding the case. For instance, takeaways he's learned thus far. Davis says Temple wasn't prepared for a case like this, and that maybe they erred too much on the side of precaution in regards to the family.
The city of Temple, I believe, had an opportunity to step in and show more compassion toward the family, and in my estimation, that's where we dropped the ball.
Davis did say the city handled the investigation correctly by having the Texas Rangers investigate as a third party.
Since it was the city of Temple officer that was involved in the shooting, then you absolutely have to have a third party investigate.
Mayor Davis says when emergency lights are turned on in every TPD cruiser, a system called Axon activates dash cam and body cam video, also sending a signal to any other officer's cameras reporting to the scene. He says it stores the information in a cloud system, and the police department has zero control over that information. Davis also addressed the idea that this case is being covered up.
The investigation is not based on rumor. An investigation is based on evidence. That evidence is 100% secure and 100% not accessible by anyone to allow for a cover-up.
That was Cole Johnson reporting for us tonight. Now, Cole spoke with the mayor about much more on this case, and Dean's car has become a key part of the investigation now. You can find more on the car and from the mayor on KCENTV.com immediately following this newscast.